You're a fitness coach who's experiencing inconsistent income and you think the best way to fix this is by working harder. But let me ask you something, and I want you to be really honest with yourself here. Let's pretend it's the first of the month. Do you know within a reasonable margin what you're going to make by the end of the month? Not hope, not best case scenario, not if I land a client that, that I've been talking to or that's on the verge of signing up. Do you actually know? Because if the honest answer is no, if the first of the month feels like starting from scratch all the time, if you are basically resetting the clock and hoping that this month is one of those good months, then this video has been specifically built for you. And I think you already know that because you clicked on it. I want to actually acknowledge something before we get into the mechanics of everything, because I think it gets skipped over way too quickly in most business content, if mentioned at all. The financial unpredictability when you run your coaching business is genuinely one of the hardest things to deal with. And not just financially, it gets into your head. It affects how you show up in sales conversations because you need the sales too badly, and the prospects can actually feel it. It affects the decisions that you make about investing back into the business because you're never sure if the next month is going to hold up. It affects your relationships outside of work because the background financial stress does not stay at your desk. It follows you home, it follows you into your relationships, it follows you everywhere. And this is not weakness. It's what happens when you're building a real business without the infrastructure to make income predictable. And it's one of the most common things I see in coaching businesses at the stage that you're at right now. It's not because these coaches are bad at what they do, or because they're sleazy salespeople, or they can't make sales or anything like that, but it's because nobody has ever taught them how to build the financial foundation of the business properly. So here's the truth about the feast or famine income cycle. In almost every single case that I've worked through with coaches, it's not a sales problem. It's a structural problem. And there are two specific things that are causing this. The first is over-reliance on one-off packages. If the majority of your revenue comes from clients who pay you once, a 12-week block, a single payment, a project fee, a massive upfront lump sum payment, then every time one of those engagements end, that revenue disappears. And you're not losing a client, you're losing a revenue line. And if 3 or 4 of those clients finish at the same time, which happens consistently because cohorts move together, you go from one great month to a dead month without anything changing about your ability or your effort. And so the problem is not that you had a bad month. The problem is that your revenue model has no floor. There's no baseline that is there regardless of whether you sign someone new or not. Every month you're starting from zero and building it up, which means that every single month carries the same anxiety. The second cause is the absence of a lead nurturing system. Your good months happen when several things line up, when people are ready to buy, when your content hits, when you're active in your outreach. But between those peaks, warm leads go cold. People who were genuinely interested 3 months ago and said, not right now, they've never gotten followed up with in a meaningful way. So by the time that they are ready, they've forgotten about you or they've signed with someone else. And so your dead months are not because your leads have dried up. It's because you have no system keeping people warm in between. And both those things are fixable. And fixing them changes the entire financial texture of your business. And so the mindset shift that I want you to make is this. Stop treating your income as an outcome and start treating it as a system output. Right now, your income is the result of what happened this month. Good content, good conversations, good timing, income goes up. Quiet month, distracted, a few clients finishing, income drops heavily. It is reactive and unpredictable because it's tied to activity. Your activity, not structure. So what I want you to build instead is a revenue floor, a baseline number made up of your recurring monthly commitments from existing clients. That is there on the very first of every month, before you do anything, before you post, before you outreach, before you close a single new person. That number exists because you built a model that generates income and revenue automatically. When you have a floor, everything above it is upside. When you don't have a floor, you're building the house from the foundations up every single month. And so there are 3 specific moves to get this to happen. This is the solution. And let me walk you through each one. Move number 1 is restructure your offers to include a recurring revenue component. This doesn't mean that you have to scrap your packages overnight. It means adding a retention layer. After the initial 12-week program, for example, what happens? Most coaches let clients roll off. Instead, build a lower cost monthly membership, a maintenance tier, a community access product, something that a percentage of your existing clients can stay in after the main engagement ends. And even if it is half the price of your core offer, every client who stays generates monthly revenue that compounds over time. Imagine 10 clients on a $200 per month retention product. That's $2,000. A $2,000 floor revenue before you even open your laptop on the first of every month. Move number 2 is build a follow-up and nurture system for warm leads. Every lead who said, not right now, or I need to think about it, or anything along those lines, is a future client if you stay in their orbit, if you stay front of mind. So build a structured sequence, not spam, not a monthly newsletter that no one cares about, a genuine value-driven follow-up cadence that keeps you visible, that keeps you relevant, that keeps you front of mind, and that continues to deliver value and education. Automated touch points every 2 to 3 weeks, a piece of content that applies to their specific situation, a check-in at the 60-day mark. A lot of your dead months are actually warm leads that went cold because there was no system to hold them in place. There was no system to keep them warm. This is one of your highest leverage things that you can build because you are monetizing conversations that you've had in the past. And move number 3 is to start tracking your MRR, which is your monthly recurring revenue, as a primary metric. Most coaches track monthly revenue, and the number is misleading because lump sum payments or one-off income with your recurring income makes a $15,000 month look the same, regardless of whether 12,000 of that 15,000 is recurring, or maybe all 15,000 is one-off packages. They're not the same. One of those months leaves you with a strong foundation going into next month, the other leaves you back at 0. So what I want you to do is to start tracking your monthly recurring revenue separately. Watch it grow, make decisions based on that. That number is the health metric of your business. It tells you more about your actual trajectory than any single good month ever will. So let me tell you what happens when you actually implement this into your business. One of the coaches that I work with came in doing solid revenue, about 8 to 10 months during her good months. But her MRR, which is her monthly recurring revenue, was essentially 0. Everything was projected based. Every month was a reset, and the stress of not knowing was starting to affect her sales calls, her consultations, and everything of the like because she needed each one to land. So what we did was we restructured her offer suite to include what we call a retention tier at the back end of her main program. We also built a 90-day follow-up sequence for all warm leads that are in her pipeline, and we started tracking her MRR as the lead metric instead of her total revenue. And so what happened there was within 3 months, her recurring revenue base was sitting at $3,200 per month. It sounds simple, but the psychological shift was immediate. She knew that $3,200 was coming in regardless every single month. And so every sales conversation that she had after that point came from a different energy because she was no longer desperate. She was building. Her close rate went up, but not because she had a better script or we taught her better sales techniques or anything like that, but because she was not showing up on the back foot anymore. The floor changed everything about the way she was doing her sales, and now people were chasing her. She was no longer chasing people. If you want to know what your recurring revenue model could actually look like, or what your retention tier should look like based on your specific offers, what your monthly recurring revenue floor could be in the next 90 days, what I want you to do is I want you to head back into Instagram and reply with the word floor. What I'll do from there is I'll personally reach out to you. We'll jump on a quick screen share with no sales pitches, no pressure, no obligations, nothing like that. And I want to actually show you exactly what this would look like mapped out in your business. Because what I get from that is that I get to serve my Lord Jesus Christ, and I get to serve you. So what I want you to do is head back into the DMs, shoot me that word, the word is floor, and we can build from there.